Yo, how's it going? So, it is the Sabbath, and I find myself driving again. And I see the thing about you're held accountable to what you know, which that makes sense. And then, some people, like, I didn't read the law for a long time because I was just like trying to get out of it. Then as I read it, I was like, oh, well, this is all basic stuff, really. It's just got a few nuanced specifications. And it's a little more strict, a little more harsh in some areas than I expected due to cultural differences. But because my upbringing, it's not inconceivable.
There are police reported ahead.
Watch out. There's cops everywhere. Okay, so I woke up this morning and I just popped out of bed, right? I mean, I was just like awake. And I just felt like I needed to go, you know? And I opened my Bible up. When I opened it, I just went like that. And right where my thumb was, the Bible was upside down and the words were backwards. But I looked down there and it said, "Go immediately." Cool. Put it up. Did what I had to do. Pre-trip. Hit the road. Didn't even get a cup of coffee. Didn't make it my own coffee in the truck. Nothing. I mean, just like water in the cup. Going. And I thought, man, that's really what he wants me to do. And then it's like, you know, Jesus and the disciples was walking through this field and they were grabbing them grains of wheat. And then they were mad at the authorities, scolded them. It's not lawful to tread the grain on the Sabbath. And he said something along the lines of, how will the bride mourn while the groom is still with them? And I think that's the key to this whole situation, right? Because you know, you got some people that say if your donkey's in the ditch, get him out. And the other ones are saying, you know, the correct translation is, how did your donkey get out to be in the ditch to begin with? And leave him there because he's disobedient? Which, I mean, honestly, kind of lines up more with some of the harshness of, you know, kill him, he's gathering kindling. You know what I mean? And the strict adherence requirements of the law. Okay, so like strictly required. And then even in the book of Hebrews, we see where like they repent and then they backslide and then they repent again. And he says that's, you know, making a mockery of Jesus' sacrifice. And you shouldn't expect to get anything if you're going to do that. You know what I mean? And then he goes on to say, but we hope for you particularly that there's, you know, still grace. So like there's this stern warning thing, you know what I mean? And then there's like, you know, the Holy Ghost is with us, right? He sent the helper. I mean, what more help do I need than like I have to work on the Sabbath? You know what I mean? I need some help with that. Like, that's the seal, the mark of his people. You know, the circumcision of the heart, the, you know, keeping the Sabbath, the keeping the law. You know what I mean? I just chose the Sabbath because I was like, okay, I'll take the day off. You know what I mean? Like, how hard could this be? Yeah, turns out ridiculously difficult in modern time. Ask anybody. Ask anybody. You know, like, and then you get down to the nuance of it, and it's like, you know, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You just had some nachos or whatever that you made in a crock pot the day before, and you're just like chilling around the house. It's like, well, I wonder what's happening on, Robinhood stock exchange. And you look on there and check, see your stocks or whatever, or you're checking email, or you, walk too many steps. I mean, like, where's the line? Where's the line? And so there needs to be a strict adherence and a fear of going to hell, and then a reassurance of grace in that we're walking with Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, his sacrifice is eternal. All my sin is after Jesus died. Because, after he gave his life for my sin. So, I don't want to make a public display and mockery, but at the same time, when I'm like, I just wake up, just like no alarm, no nothing. I'm just like, boom, I'm awake. I'm like, gotta go. And I'm just seeking God in that moment. God help me, or whatever like that. And I'm like, well, I need to read something. And I grab the Bible, and when I open it up, I look, the first, I don't even realize it's upside down. I don't have no glasses on. I mean, I've been awake for 6 seconds, 7, maybe 12. You know what I mean? Probably closer to 6, actually. I look at this thing, go immediately. Cool. I'm out of here. Confirmation check. You know what I mean? And I've been driving all day just expecting something. And I've been thinking about how this clock works and stuff like that, and get over here, get to the destination, but don't deliver till Monday. So I can still do the 34-hour restart. I was going to do it there. I do the Sabbath and the 34. And then now as I'm going, I start seeing this stuff about discipline. And from very biblical kind of guy. I think the channel's called The Soldier of Yah. And he's talking about discipline and everything like that. And it's just hit me like, I need to get on the stick with my I need to get on the stick with my business book, and I need to get on the stick with my the book of mental toughness, and actually do 75 hard. Just do it. You know what I mean? And I gotta treat the next 75 days like I'm in intensive care. You know what I mean? And to just go and do dedicated 75 days straight, you know what I mean, and do these Bible studies and stuff and everything. Is that snow? It is freaking snowing. Snow. Anyway, and I recently, day before yesterday, I got these new white shirts. So I'm doing all white shirts with the tinfoil lining and the tinfoil hat. And I got my coat, and I just got my camo bibs. And I think next week I got to get the waterproof, because I got good walking boots, my Spider-Man boots. I got them. And these shoes that I'm wearing, they're very weak in the sole. Like if you walk across rocks, you feel every rock. I don't know if they're intended to be grounding shoes for like letting your foot get its natural whatever. I just think they're incredibly cheaply made. I know I got them from Ross for dirt cheap down there on the border. Pro tip, if you're at the border, go to Ross. They have buildings that are called Ross in America. And then in Bordertown, America, Ross is a sprawling freaking Mall of America. You know what I mean? Like, it's got everything, and it's all on the cheap. And so pro tip, visit Ross if you're in McAllen, Texas, for sure. I think there's 6 or 7 of them. It's like the last chance to get $1 out of this junk before we give it away, basically. Anyway, so all the stuff's there. and it's, you know, a quarter of the price. Like, you can get those red shoes I wore they were Skechers Go Run, which I guess was a thing like 2 years ago. Anyway, I got that thing. Dude, those are the best shoes I ever had in my life. Except for one pair of Adidas that had the Adidas print. That was the best shoes I ever had in my life. But they quit making those a long time ago. But yeah, I believe I give $18, $16, something like that. Dude, they were like 110. Said it right on the box. You know what I mean? So they were like $100 off. You know, $80 off. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, why am I talking about shoes? I really feel like the Lord is calling me to do 75 days of discipline. And I have not been doing the secular books because I feel like I'm cheating on God, man. I don't want to go buy First Form energy drinks and give one away because I feel like that's my opportunity to be witnessing for God. But up until somebody told me to do that or encourage people to do that, up until that point, like I did that. You know what I mean? I'd go in there, I'd buy a whole armload. You know what I mean? It'd be like, give one to the cashier, like, hey man, try that. He's like, man, are these that good? Oh yeah, bro, check it out. I give one. You know, that happened a couple times. Once on Long Island. And anyway, I really appreciate the way some of these things go. And I really appreciate the way a good man from the internet on his seeing the tour portions from previous and seeing that route and then seeing how he accesses these different things and then comes to determination based on the gist. I like that. And then I personally, I think I'm more of a stick to the canon, very specifically, because I don't want to be introduced to an idea and, you know, it not be right. You know what I mean? The chances of me weeding out every lie from all the books about the Bible is zero. Like, probably zero. Like, I've been tricked. You know, my track record for being tricked is abysmal. You know what I mean? Most of my wisdom comes from figuring out that I've been tricked and then trying to, like, pull my head out of the noose to whatever degree. And I'm sure everybody watching this can identify with that. You know, we've all had our problems, right? And how beautiful the wisdom of our Creator to allow these situations, to allow the earth to be, so we can have these struggles, these highs and lows, and then the orchestra of it all happening at once. Just beyond mind-blowing to me. And it's so easy to trust God in that moment, right? And then, like, everything's leading me right now, you know, just like strictly be obedient. That is my plan. And I don't think I'm being strictly obedient by working out every day for 75 days in a row. I don't think I'm being strictly obedient to read all these secular books about business planning and, you know, audacious view and mental toughness and everything. But then I think about it for just a little bit longer after I've calmed down. I've had experience with some of these books already. And I've already looked at some of this stuff towards business and everything like that. And I just want to use all that to further the gospel, right? And that's me striving to promote the gospel because I love God. You know what I mean? And that's the motivator. It is freaking snowing. Man, I hope this road don't freeze. Anyway, don't freeze road. It's pretty early in the season. The ground temperature should keep it thawed out. Anyway, maybe that's why God's like, go. Maybe I was going to get snowed in where I was at. I came out of over by Sydney. 47 miles from Sydney, Nebraska. I'm in Iowa now. And 43 miles until I turn north on 35. I'm on Highway 80. Anyways, got a whole semi full of used batteries, but somehow that's not hazmat. Like, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I think there's so much to do with batteries and stuff that they're like, we don't have enough trucks that are labeled hazmat, so we're going to call this not hazmat, so anybody can haul them. Well, we can get this stuff moved around. But the junkyard has to be, labeled as collecting hazmat to take the batteries. So, just like Sydney, Nebraska, completely got wiped out because the merger, Bass Pro and Cabela's, and then they used one back office, fired everybody in Sydney, just wiped out a whole town. That way some rich person has more money. They hollowed out America. On the flip side, if you want a nice house pretty cheap and you're a remote worker, probably a good place to ride out the apocalypse, truth be told. Sydney, Nebraska. Or if you're a diesel mechanic, great place for that. Anyways, so I'm watching this guy and everything, and he's just like, talking about discipline. And I'm like, I need to go back through, this, choosing your enemies wisely. Actually got it was not an email, it was a text message from a guy, and he was interviewing with a guy and pretty substantial people, and he sends me this deal, and I've talked to him several times because he's got that Bedeck deal, and I was amazed that to get a text message from the dude. Now, is this his PR team or something? I assume so, right? However, when I seen what it was, and I seen the way he was talking, and he's talking about how they're going to run all the people with money out of New York, and how Miami is structuring itself to welcome them, which is, obviously, probably, you know what I mean? And then also Dallas, Texas is like set up to be the new stock market. So like they put in, now he didn't say this, but I think they put in a jackass up there to collapse it into bullshittery and chaos so the smart people will move the same way they got people to move out of California. So, on the one hand, the greedy people are doing it because now they can start a new thing in Texas. And then on the other hand, communists are doing it. That way they can get the people with resources off the coast to, soften it up for the invasion. Because everybody like me already left New York, and they already left California, the whole West Coast. Once you get inland a little bit, like they might get a beachhead in California or whatever else like that. But definitely like Portland. But once the Ewoks come out, it's a wrap. So that'll probably all be done with drones and stuff like that, or whatever, whatever. Man, we're way off topic here. So I have to do 75 days of discipline. And I want to say starting tomorrow, so that's my pivot, that I have to do it today. So apparently I'm going to get out in the slushy snow and do a 45-minute workout once I stop the vehicle. Since I got 4 hours left to drive though. So I've been driving for 3, driving for 4, that's 7.5. Oh, it's 281 to my destination, so we'll drive about 3 more hours. Get that knocked out and shut her down. I got tonight, all day tomorrow, and then till the next day, actually drive over there and deliver. But I'm going to try to go over there about 8 o'clock in the morning. See if they'll take it early. And I'll have a fresh clock so I can run all week, and That's the plan. So I'm just going to maximize the clock, maximum miles, get into the discipline, get the headspace in, and like, am I abandoning the ways of y'all to try to? Am I going the wayward way with this? Man, it feels like it with my logics. You know what I mean? But I think I need the discipline just so I can like stop coarse jesting and be able to look at a woman and not lust. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it takes to do that. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I'm just harshly judging myself to just look at a chick and, just instantly, I look at a dude, and it's like, how would I fight this guy? I look at a chick and it's just like, is she bangable or not? You know what I mean? Like, it just comes to my head. You know what I mean? And the relief of looking at a woman and not being like, banger or whatever, banger, no banger, to be able to look at that and that not be a thing for me, that's a personal struggle. Now, I've never cheated on my wife. I've never, you know what I mean? But according to the Bible and stuff like that, like, every day I'm adulterating. So, because if you have the thought leads to the action leads to death. You know what I mean? Thinking about fornication leads to the sin of fornication, and then that leads to death. You know what I mean? And then I was referring adultery there, but fornication, you can fornicate by yourself. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to quit jerking the gherkin. And there's no way you're going to do that if you're looking at girls in the wrong way. And, I've even, I'm a wife. Just tell it all, Skip. Just tell it all. The struggles. I mean, yeah, like, to put down all sin, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the struggle, to whatever degree, I think like the suffering for doing right carries on. But I think we're totally capable of letting go of sin, and I think that's got something to do with adapting my mind, will, and emotions to the mind, will, and emotions of the Most High. I think that's where it's at. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. That is the way, in my estimation. Like, I'm thinking, how can I actually get this done? It's through pure obedience. But I don't have the discipline to keep the law in its entirety. So if this other guy's good at planning, where you got like the emotional side, then you got the real skilled nerd guy, then you got the real super passionate, I'm going to make all the sales. The other guy's like, I'm going to call 13 people before noon, 12 people after noon, I'm going to cross-reference or whatever. You're like, dude, you need both of those guys to work together. So harness both sides of my personality to be the most audacious victor in the realm of spreading the gospel, thus taking over the earth for Jesus. Now that's going to come with a lot of reps and sets, and I got to get my carcass in order, because if I don't live, a lot of truck drivers get a heart attack. A lot of them have a stroke. A lot of them have like diabetes. So that's all. What are you eating? How much exercise? They say the sedentary life is worse than smoking. So, I need that. I need that exercise. So that's what I got to do. I'm gonna look at like cancer treatment. You know what I mean? Like this sin leads to death, and might need a little chemo for a while to get over the freaking lung cancer or whatever. If that means I gotta fast, that means I gotta work out twice a day. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do that. You know, if I'm gonna eat carnivore, eat kosher carnivore, you know what I mean? I need to be on the flounder 3 times a week. Get away from the, red meat clogging my arteries, or fix them, depending on who you talk to, because the internet's freaking says whatever you want it to say. Anyways, yeah. But I'm definitely going to keep it to like 1 handful of rice. Nothing more. Nothing more. And I'm getting rid of bread, for sure. Getting rid of wheat. Like no wheat. 1 handful of rice. And then whatever meat. Probably a lot of onions. Anyways. I think I'll set my diet at like a gallon of milk. We'll go a gallon and a half of milk a week. No more than that. That seems like it ain't too much. I just drank this milk here. This stuff said it was fat free. And this sucker's got 11 grams of sugar. And it says it's got 8 servings. This is 88 grams of sugar. Are you serious? I took a drink of it. I was like, it still tastes like nothing. But it's kind of sweet. Yeah. It's because it has 88 grams of sugar in it. I got this cup of coffee right here. It's got a scoop of creatine and 4 scoops of peptides. The collagen peptides, whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. I think it makes my fingernails grow or something. And it is gross. So, just water and just gross coffee. Over time, I noticed that my taste buds changed. So then drinking the milk, I'm telling you, that milk to me was like a milkshake. You know what most people like I can't eat a candy bar anymore. Like if I get the anything less than the 88% cacao chocolate bar thing, I can't even hardly eat it because it's just too sweet. I eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I mean it might as well be a cake. Now after 2 or 3 days of eating like that, I can eat sugar all day. Put it in my coffee, the whole 9 yards. But that's adaptation. You know what I mean? That I gotta adaptate away from pesticide, herbicide, which is suicide. Just hold the sides. That joke is getting a little corny. I think that gets the seal of approval. Or. That's the seal of approval for your dad jokes. Feel free to use that pro tip. Somebody gives you a dad joke, just start going and then say, that's my seal of approval, thus furthering the dad joke. Hopefully that will please your dad. Oh, and that was the other thing I was going to say, and this might be why I'm doing what I do. If you don't have a dad, approach God as if he's your dad for like dad advice. That is totally biblical. That is 100% biblical. The Bible tells us to quit calling our earthly parents dad and call the Most High dad. For real. Like, don't even call the preacher man father, because he ain't. Just get that water. Get that 101. Get that 101. And I'm going to do a study. I'm going to start doing studies. And I'm going to do the study on camera and just fumble through it. It might not be fun or whatever. glamorous. But if I come to some conclusion or whatever on my own, without God showing me, I'm probably wrong. And then if there's something so controversial that there's been church splits over it or whatever, like what is that? Why? Who wins from that? You know, what was gained, what was lost, stuff like that, and just have some real analysis of, is this an attempt from God to mature us, or is this the enemy tearing us down? Are we reaping what we sowed? You know, what's really going on here? And then, and in the sense of a church split, you know what I mean? Say there's 90 people in a church, and they split 40 one way, 50 the other, right? Like, just do like a business case study for each individual family. What actually happened there? You know what I mean? And you'll see where there's a lot of pros and cons. You know what I mean? And then if you follow it long enough, you'll see the cons ultimately be pros for those who choose to repent. Let me say this again. The cons, the negativities, the downside of your emotional trauma, pain, hurt, discomfort, whatever, woe unto the ones it comes from. However, you can't fuel your repentance with those. And that's definitely an upside. That's definitely an upside. And that ain't nothing. You know what I mean? So when you're seeing these things, especially if it's hard to stomach, you know what I mean? Like there's something on you and it's hard to stomach. You're like, for me today, just go to work. And, you know, feeling so yuck about it. I've been wanting to make a video all day or whatever. I didn't know what to do. Look at this.
Put down phone.
Look, see the ice and snow? That thing ratted me out, didn't it? Put down phone. Stop making videos driving through the ice and snow. What would this road look like tomorrow when I tried to drive down through here? Probably worse, right? So that's probably why they got this load. Everybody else in the world looked at this load and said, no, I ain't going over there where that's fixed to get bad. So this probably paid more. I don't know. I'll let them do all that. Pro tip, put your visors down and then put your defrost on the backs, crack the window so you don't sweat to death. And it keeps your windshield wipers from freezing over. There was one of the old ones, I don't know if it got took down or not. I actually made it on TV telling people how to drive one time. Anyways, I'm going to get off here because, yeah, the boss is definitely watching now. Since my camera ratted me out. I think that thing rats me out quite a bit. One time I got a drink of water and I was looking at the water bottle. It's like, put down the phone. I was like, I'm not on the phone, I'm on the water bottle. So, in a world of robots taking over, be essential. You know what I mean? Be essential. There's a lot that goes on out here on this road that the AI cannot do at this time. And if you had a robot doing it, it would not be, it's just not lucrative enough to put that kind of money into the robotics at this point in time. I'd say we're quite a ways away from that. Even on a mass scale. You know what I mean? Like, even this truck here with its, you know, onboard diagnostics and all that. I mean, it was saying I was out of fuel last night while I was sitting there. They go, ding, says there's no fuel. Ding, got fuel again. Ding, no fuel. You know what I mean? So it's kind of glitchy. And then, you know, like all the banks and everything's been glitchy lately too. So, you know, it's a thing. And, man, I probably ought to make another video. Because, I mean, it's really, really snowing now. See what the radar says. You gotta use your tools, right? 35 degrees, light rain, feels like 28. That would explain the snow with no accumulation on the road. See what the radar says. It's got to do its little ad thing. Yearly subscription for $6.99. Okay. So we are from here to Des Moines under quite a bit of moisture, and then headed north. Looks like we run out of the moisture, and then right at Albert Lake, it's snowing. That's where my trailer passed me that one time. If you've ever heard that story, where I dropped down the road, I looked over, the trailer was passing me. That happened at Albert Lake. There's a place over there. It's a petrol with the, it's Albert, how do they say it? Albert, L-E-A. I call it Albert Lake. I don't know how to say it. Anyways, the radar shows some stone right there. I could show you that deal, I guess. And that phone that ratted me out. Blue thing's where I'm at, and that's my other GPS going right there. You got to use all the tools, you know what I mean? Because why not, right? Anyway, where that comes through right there, that's Albert Lake, and then up a little above that's Minneapolis. I'm going to E-A-G-E-N, Eagan, Minnesota. I think that's why I have such a hard time spelling, because of the freaking, you know. Have you drove around reading the road signs? I grew up right by a place called Telequal. Okay? Like, you get out here driving, you got every nationality under the sun out here driving around. They're all freaking all these towns and stuff, like Tonkawa and Pawhuska, Ofusky, and that's a great one for your you need a password. Just think of Ofusky, like Obadiah, like, you know, Ofusky over there. Some old grumpy dude, Ofusky. I've used that before. Obviously not currently or ever again, since I just set my password on the interwebs. But yeah, that's a good one, Ofusky. Man, what's my... Oh, it's because I turned on that deal. Yeah, let's turn that down. Alright, I'm going to get off here. I was just going to say a few things. I forgot what I was even talking about now. I'm going to be more... Yeah, I think I need to go through them books about discipline. It's 10 pages a day for 75 days. So I think I'm just going to use those 2 books. And then I'm going to try to do a Bible study. I don't know that I'll have time to put a Bible study on this deal and share it with y'all. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. All right, Rock Hill, Merry Christmas. How do you think Christmas is the right day? Let me tell you about... No, I ain't going to get started on all that. Yeah, that's a good idea, guy. Just stop right there in the middle of the highway. Why? Never stop your vehicle on the side of the highway unless you're actually past the white line. Like, actually move over. It's okay. Drive it to the grass if you have to. Do not stop in the lane. And don't stop on the little lane on the left side either. Always pull to the right. I don't know who needs to hear that, but like, yeah, for real. Man, I wish I had my deal going on the dash, because there is the variety of colors, and the leaves up here is very vibrant. And with the backdrop of a dismal, snowy road, I'm getting more into the right now. I'm out in the snow. But it's just rain now. But the man, there's some bright colored ones. I came through some the other day. I come around the corner, and there was all the fall colors, but real vibrant. And then there was some aspen, and they got that white bark. So like even the tree trunks were different colors. So you had like black, brown, brilliant white, all the colors of yellow. And some of them have a great, I don't know which one it is, but they got a great big leaf. And I think it's the moisture content freezing, or how close to freezing it gets. That's why they change colors. So like, if they got more or less moisture, and then the size and the thickness of the leaf will also determine. Those are real bright right there, and those are all those leaves are real bunched up close together. There's some that's red right there, and then you'll see these others that they just go from green just straight to brown, like on your blackjack trees and stuff like that. Well, that's a thin spread out, where the other ones are kind of together and they're thicker. So same temperature, with different rates of freeze. Oh, see, that's the truck making my nose messed up. Don't get me wrong, the outside air does it too, but all right, Rock Hill.